Every textbook you've ever read is lying to you about black holes. Not on purpose, but the picture in your head right now. A bottomless pit, a cosmic vacuum cleaner, a hole that swallows everything into nothing, is wrong. The real answer is stranger, and somehow more unsettling, than anything Hollywood ever put on screen. Because the closer physicists look at what's actually happening inside a black hole, the more it seems like reality itself starts to break down at the seams. Here's where most people get it wrong from the first sentence. A black hole is not a hole. It's not an absence. It's the exact opposite. Too much of something, packed into too little space, until the rules of the universe simply give up and stop making sense. Imagine taking the mass of a star 10 times heavier than our sun and crushing it down to a single point smaller than a grain of sand. That's not a metaphor. That's the actual math. Once you do that, gravity stops behaving like the gentle force that keeps your feet on the ground and your coffee in your cup. It becomes a trap door with no exit, a one-way street carved permanently into the fabric of space itself. Scientists call the edge of that trap door the event horizon. Cross it, and there is no coming back, not because of some cosmic rule written down somewhere, but because the geometry of space and time literally flips underneath you. Inside the horizon, moving toward the center isn't a choice anymore. It's exactly like being unable to avoid tomorrow. You don't decide to keep falling any more than you decide to keep aging. Time itself points inward. And that single fact is where the real mystery begins. Because once space and time trade places, the question, what's inside a black hole, stops being about a location and becomes a question about the future, about something that hasn't happened yet rather than somewhere you could stand. Size, oddly enough, changes everything here. Fall toward a small, stellar mass black hole, and the difference in gravity between your head and your feet becomes so extreme that you'd be stretched apart long before you ever reach the horizon. A gruesome process physicists actually call spaghettification, because there really isn't a more dignified word for it. But fall toward a supermassive black hole, the kind sitting at the center of galaxies like our own, and the tidal forces at the horizon are gentle enough that you might not even notice the crossing at all, at least not right away. Same fate, wildly different experience, depending entirely on scale. So what happens next? For decades, the textbook answer was almost cartoonishly simple. Everything gets crushed into a singularity, a point of infinite density where the laws of physics collapse completely. Infinite gravity, infinite curvature, a place where Einstein's own equations throw up their hands and stop making predictions altogether. Even Einstein himself was uncomfortable with the idea, and for a long time physicists treated singularities as a mathematical embarrassment rather than a real physical prediction. But for a long time, that was considered good enough as an answer. A black hole eats matter. Matter gets destroyed. End of story, nothing more to see here. But here's the problem. One that quietly terrified some of the smartest physicists on Earth for 50 straight years. Information, in physics, is not supposed to disappear, not ever, under any circumstances. Every particle that falls into a black hole carries a kind of fingerprint, its spin, its charge, its exact quantum state, the complete record of everything it once was. If that fingerprint gets erased at the singularity, it breaks one of the most fundamental laws in all of science. That the universe never truly forgets anything, that the past can always in principle be reconstructed from the present. This became known as the black hole information paradox, and for half a century it sat like a splinter in the mind of modern physics, refusing to be ignored. Stephen Hawking himself spent decades wrestling with it, staked his reputation on it, and even lost a public bet over it, twice, to different physicists who bet against him. Then, in 1974, Hawking made the mystery worse instead of better. Black holes aren't even permanent. They leak, slowly and quietly, over spans of time that make the age of the universe look brief. Through a strange quantum effect now called Hawking radiation, involving pairs of particles popping in and out of existence right at the horizon, with one particle falling in while its partner escapes outward, black holes slowly bleed energy back into space, shrinking over unimaginable timescales until, theoretically, they vanish completely, evaporating into nothing but a faint whisper of radiation. Every black hole in the universe is, right now, very slowly dying. And if a black hole eventually disappears entirely, What happened to everything it ever swallowed? Where did all that information go? You can't have a universe that both destroys information and erases the very object that supposedly destroyed it. That's not just strange, it's a genuine logical contradiction. Something in this picture had to give, and physicists knew it. This is the point where the story stops being about crushing and starts being about something far weirder: surfaces. In the 1990s, physicists led by theorists like Gerard T. Hooft and later one Mel Desena began seriously exploring an idea so counterintuitive it sounds like science fiction: the holographic principle. The core claim is this: everything that falls into a black hole might not actually be stored inside its volume at all. Instead, every single bit of information could be smeared across the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon itself, like a shadow that somehow contains the entire three-dimensional object it's cast from. Not lost, not crushed into oblivion. Recorded on the skin of the black hole, encoded in a form we're only just beginning to learn how to read. Think about how strange that actually is. Your entire three-dimensional experience, everything you can touch and see and feel, could, in principle, be described completely using information stored on a flat surface at the edge of space. Some physicists now suspect this isn't just true for black holes, but for the entire universe we live in. The deep interior, the part we've spent an entire century imagining as a bottomless pit of destruction, might not be a place that things fall into and vanish from at all. It might be closer to a projection, a hologram made real by the mathematics of extreme gravity, with the true, complete description of everything living one dimension down, on the boundary rather than inside it. And that's before we even get to the firewall, which somehow makes things even stranger. In 2012, a group of physicists, Ahmed El-Mahiri, Donald Merolf, Joseph Polchinski, and James Sully, a team that quickly became known by their initials, AMPS, ran the numbers on what would actually happen to an astronaut crossing the event horizon, taking both quantum mechanics and the information problem completely seriously, with no hand-waving allowed anywhere in the calculation. The answer stunned the physics community to its core. Instead of a smooth, gentle crossing into a stretched but survivable region, the way general relativity alone predicted, the math suggested the astronaut would hit a wall of blazing, lethal radiation right at the horizon, instantly incinerated on contact, not gradually stretched into spaghetti deep inside, as older models had predicted for decades. They called it the firewall paradox, and it split the physics world into two camps that still, to this day, haven't fully reconciled. Both sides use rigorous, defensible mathematics. Both camps can't simultaneously be right. Nobody has definitively solved it yet, and some of the sharpest minds in theoretical physics have spent entire careers on this one question alone. So where does that leave us? Here's the turning point, the answer underneath the answer. Nobody actually knows, with real certainty, what's inside a black hole. Not because we haven't thought about it hard enough, and not for lack of trying, but because black holes sit exactly at the fault line between our two most successful theories ever devised, general relativity and quantum mechanics. And those two theories give flatly contradictory answers the moment you push them into that extreme environment together. A black hole isn't just an object floating in space. It's a laboratory for finding out precisely where our understanding of reality runs out of road. A natural experiment more extreme, more violent, and more revealing than anything humans could ever hope to build here on Earth. And that's the twist most people never hear about, the one that rarely makes it into the pop science headlines. We built our fear of black holes on an incomplete story, the crushing, all-consuming monster, because that was simply the simplest version science could offer decades ago, before the tools existed to ask better questions. The real frontier isn't really about what gets destroyed when you fall in. It's about whether destruction was ever even the right word to begin with. Some leading physicists today believe the singularity itself might not be a physical point at all, but a signal, a warning light telling us our equations have wandered somewhere they were never actually built to go, past the edge of their own validity. Fix the equations, unify gravity with the quantum world properly, and the singularity might dissolve entirely into something we don't even have a name for yet. Why does any of this matter if you're never, ever going anywhere near an actual black hole in your lifetime? Because black holes are quietly one of the only places in the entire universe where nature hands physicists a direct, observable clue about the next great theory, the elusive union of gravity and quantum mechanics that could explain everything from the smallest subatomic particle all the way up to the largest galaxy in one single unified framework. Every extreme condition too violent and too energetic to ever recreate in a lab on Earth. Black holes are running for us, for free, scattered generously across the cosmos, doing the experiment so we don't have to. Studying them isn't just idle cosmic curiosity for people with telescopes and too much free time on their hands. It's the closest thing we have to a message from the very edge of knowledge itself, written in the language of gravity instead of words. There's something genuinely humbling in that thought. For most of human history, we treated the unknown as something purely to fear, the monster in the dark, the hole that swallows light and gives nothing back in return. But black holes, the more carefully we study them, are quietly teaching us the opposite lesson. The scariest thing about them was never really that they destroy. It's that they might preserve everything, absolutely everything, just in a form we simply haven't learned to read yet. The universe isn't erasing its receipts the way we once assumed. It might just be storing them somewhere we haven't thought to look, filed away on a surface instead of buried in a void. So the next time someone confidently tells you a black hole is just an empty void that eats everything and gives nothing back, you'll know the real story, the one hiding underneath the simple version. It's not a graveyard, and it's not even, strictly and technically speaking, a hole at all. It's the edge of human knowledge, glowing faintly at the horizon, waiting patiently for someone to finally read what's written there in full. If this kind of mystery pulls at you the way it pulls at every physicist still awake at 2 a.m. arguing about firewalls and holograms and information that supposedly never dies, stick around, because the universe has a lot more unanswered questions exactly like this one. And honestly, we have really only just barely gotten started on this journey together.